we're going to join the top. You want to make sure you've got the two halves where they're going to meet in the middle, so that you know which faces are going to face each other. And we're going to have our plane ready, and we're going to set up what's called a shooting plane. Now I'm just going to take some a scrap piece of lumber here. Make sure that it's good and square. Everything you do here, you want it to be square to your table so that you get a nice square edge when you plane this. And you want to make sure you've got room underneath there just to raise it up off the surface a little bit, but not too high that it doesn't hit the plane properly. Now I've clamped it in, and I'm going to start planing this one side down. And you don't have to take off enough here, a lot of material here. You just want to take off enough to get the two sides to match. And just periodically check it to see how you're doing. And you'll want to flip it over and do both of the boards. Plane them both until you get a perfect joint there between the two halves. And you can see here I've got these two planed now. And you can do what's called the light test. Hold these up to a light, and if you see light pass through, you still need some planing done. Now that I've got them joined, I'm just going to make some marks here so that I know which halves and which sides are going to face each other. Now I'm going to use the joining jig. The plans for this are on the website. And I'm just putting down some wax paper here so I don't glue the boards to the jig itself. And I'm going to reference my marks, make sure I've got it where I want it to be and that my pattern's lined up. And I'm just testing that fit one last time just to make sure that it's right. And I'm going to have another piece of wax paper on top. Make sure it'll cover the entire length of the board. And then you want to have some string ready with a little loop on one end. Again, when you see the plans on the website, you'll understand more how that works. Then I'm going to be using some wood glue just to join them up. Hide glue also works really well. Now I'm going to put my string and start a loop here and just have it ready to go under the first prong. And now we're ready to apply the glue and clamp it together. Again, I'm just going to put some glue here along this edge. I'm just going to take a little cloth and smooth this out a little bit, make sure it's nice and uniform. This is a fairly small joint that we're making. Same on the other side. Now get our pattern aligned again. Just double check and make sure everything lines up the way you want it to look. Then we'll put our top piece of wax paper on. And then the top of the jig goes down. Again, make sure that you haven't moved the pieces of the top and that everything still lines up. And then start working your line around in sort of a figure-8 fashion. Do this for all the prongs, as you can see here. And I do, 3 or 4 turns for each section, just to make sure that you've got it nice and tight. And then I tie it off on the end. And then we take our wedges and start to fit them in. Should have 4 of those. And this is what actually does the clamping. I'm just going to take a mallet and tap these in and tighten everything up. And what this does is it puts pressure downward on the face of the top, as well as pushing from the sides and pushing the joint together. Now let this dry for 24 hours. And your top should be ready.